Hey everybody, how is it going? Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about the steel stocks. I've been looking at a lot of these and many of them look like they are setting up to go higher. So in this video, I'm going to show you the ones that I think look the best. Then I'm going to get into a question, and then I am going to go over my trading activity for the day. So if you want to see if I made or lost any money, make sure you stick around for that. And if you see any flaws in my trading system, please leave it down there for me in the comment section. Sometimes it is the most obvious things that I overlook. So if you think it looks really obvious, don't be afraid to plug it in there, because who knows, I might have missed it. But thinking about the steel sector and why the steel stocks look like they're probably setting up to go higher, kind of makes a lot of sense with steel being one of Russia's biggest exports, and a lot of countries out there don't want to do business with them anymore. It only makes sense that supply has been taken out of the market, and that's probably going to put pressure on steel prices, and that of course is good for the steel stocks. But right here I have the IX 1130, and that represents the steel sector in my TC2000 software. And as we can see, the steel sector has been in a very long base going all the way back to right around May of last year. It looks like it's starting to round up and potentially ready to break out. We can see that this was a pretty well-defined floor for steel. Had this little breakdown, which I love to see before a breakout. I love seeing a false breakdown before it makes that run up. We have the lows that are rising up. That tells you that supply is drying up and more demand is coming into that sector, and steel is consolidating right here at the highs. Now it's having a little bit of a false breakout today, and you would expect that to happen, especially after an extended move up over these last couple of months or so. But I think eventually it'll probably end up breaking out, and if it does, it could be a nice extended move up with this long base. But there's a lot of people out there that are talking like they expect a commodity super cycle, and that's basically just a multi-year run in commodities. And if we go to the weekly chart, we can look and see how steel did the last time commodities had a very nice run back in the early 2000s. Let me back the chart up here. But we can see after this nice long base where commodities were out of favor. See, I can't really size the chart up that well, but had this nice long base where commodities, were kind of doing nothing, and then they got in favor and had a nice long run. And commodities have been out of favor for quite a while. Let me go back to present day. You can see basically they've been in a sloppy consolidation going all the way back to about 2010 or so. So these things look like they could possibly just be breaking out. And in fact, it kind of looks like it's at this point in the chart right now. So if we do go into an extended run in commodities, which I think that we probably will, just because commodities have been out of favor for so long, we could be at the very early stages. And it looks like if we do have a multi-year run, this high right here that it made back in 2008 is probably going to get taken out. So we could have a really nice run in some of these commodity stocks. But let me go back to the daily chart, and I'm going to get into right now some of the stocks that I think are setting up the best. I'm not going to go in any particular order, just the way that they're written down on my piece of paper. First one I want to get into is NUE. NUE is a favorite on Wall Street, so I wouldn't be a bit surprised if this ends up being one of the better performers in the steel sector. But you can see NUE has been in a kind of a long base going all the way back to May as well, and now it is just starting to break out. It has come back down to support and is holding it. So a break above 140 is going to be very bullish for NUE. With everything that's going on in the market right now, it's probably going to be a pretty rocky road, but I think if you get a break above 140 and a hold, I think that's going to be a very decent entry for NUE. Another one out there is RS. See, Reliance Steel and Aluminum making the same exact pattern. Very nice rounded bottom. We got that breakout, and it's just grinding around up here, trying to break to a new all-time high. So RS looks really strong. And by the way, most of these commodity stocks pay dividends. They're not massive, but it's always nice to get paid as you wait for a cycle to play out. NUE right now pays about 1.5% dividend. RS is about 1.8%. So you know, not the biggest dividends in the world, but it's still nice to get paid. Next one I want to go into is STLD. If you look at Steel Dynamics, you know, you're going to notice a lot of these are making the same exact pattern. And when you have a sector with a bunch of stocks making breakout type of patterns, it's always good when there's a bunch of you know, stocks in the same exact sector that are also looking to break out. It brings a lot of attention to that sector. But STLD, same exact pattern, threatening to break out above $78 a share and make a new all-time high. And STLD has a dividend of 1.8% as well. Next one is SCHN, Schnitzer. You can see Schnitzer hasn't quite broken out yet, but it's also in a very nice consolidation. A break above $60 a share is going to be very bullish for Schnitzer Steel. And SCHN pays about a 1.5% dividend. Another one is TX. Terranium SA, you can see that they are trading at about $40 a share. You can see that this one isn't as bullish as some of the other ones, but nonetheless, on a breakout of this trend line right here, I think that would be a viable breakout for me. You can see it's already starting to find a floor, had a little bit of a false breakdown, so a break above that trend line would probably be something I would take a shot on. And TX also pays a pretty decent dividend. I think their dividend is right around 4.5%. Some of the numbers that I was looking at for this company, they were kind of all over the place, so I'll have to double check that and see exactly what that dividend is at. But 4.5%, not too bad if that's what it is. Next one I want to go into is TMST. See, TMST is looking very strong. Also made that long base and is just starting to blast off. This is the kind of move you want to see out of those tight consolidations after a move up. You want to see a nice strong move on good volume. So TMST, little extended right here, but if you get a light pullback to around $20 a share, I think that's going to be very viable for TMST. And by the way, I'm not a financial advisor. Please make all of your own buying and selling decisions. I'm just telling you where I would like to buy them on the chart, but you guys have to make all of your own decisions. TMST does not pay a dividend, unfortunately. And last but not least is ZUES. Absolutely love this ticker. It says Olympic Steel, ticker symbol ZUES. But we can see this one, after fading down slowly over the last several months, is starting to hook up. Came down, found support at those moving averages, and is starting to move up again. So ZUES is looking really good. I love all the volume that's pouring in on this one. So I think there's just a lot of good looking charts in the steel sector right now. All right, so now I'm going to get into the question, and this question was from Hannah Manager, and I have a daughter named Hannah, and she is a manager. And if this is you, Hannah, messing with me on YouTube, you're going to be in deep doo-doo, because next time I make it down your way, I'm going to put a whooping on you. I don't care how old you are. Now, we're a family of practical jokesters, so I don't know. I don't know if she would end up doing it or not. I would think that she would come up with a name better than Hannah Manager, because she knows I would be onto that. But then she also thinks that I would think that, so maybe she would make that her name just to, you know, throw me off. Who knows? But anyway, I'm going to get into this question. This question was just, how do you buy options? And I'm going to go into this really briefly, just to search out another video on YouTube if you want a better explanation about options. I'm not an options expert, and I use them quite sparingly. So definitely search out another video. But one thing I can say is, if you're new to the market, do not mess with options. Options are the quickest way to blow out your account. Everybody I know that has blown out an account in less than 60 days started trading options right from the get-go. So I would stay away from options until you know exactly what you're doing in the market, because with options, when you're buying calls and buying puts, not only do you have to be right on direction, but you have to be right on time, depending on how much time you buy on that option. But I'll just get into this really quick. This is CleanSpark right here. So the ticker symbol is CLSK. Right now it's trading at $10.14. So these are the strike prices. So you can buy the option to take possession of that stock at either $10, $7.50, $5, $2.50, 12.50, 15, 17, 50, or 20, and I only have 20 strikes on here. You can actually put more strikes on there if you want to. Now, a Clean Spark actually doesn't have any more strike prices than that, so we'll just go right back to the 20. But if basically a call option, you're making a bet that the stock is going to go up. A put option, that means you're making a bet that the stock is going to go down. So if you thought Clean Spark was going to go to $12.50, and this is the options that expire April 14th, so 29 days left on there. But if you thought Clean Spark was going to go to past $12.50 in the next 30 days, you can either buy the stock. You can buy 100 shares. If you wanted to buy 100 shares, that would cost you $1,000, or you can buy a call option for the $12.50 strike for $65. So this gives you the ability to control 100 shares. Each option contract represents 100 shares, but you just have to remember, if a Clean Spark starts going up, it has to get past $12.50 by the amount that you paid for the options. If you paid that $65 for that option contract, you would have to add 65 cents to that price, and that will be your break even. So always remember that. One thing that I like to use on the option chain is the delta, this number right here. And this number tells you if the stock continues to move the same way it's moving right now, the percentage chance it has to make it to that price. So a 0.33 delta means it has about a 33% chance to make it to this strike price within that amount of time, within the 29 days. Now, if you go to the option that's expiring in 2 days, let me see if it comes up. There you can see the $12.50 strike is only selling for $5. It's only selling for a nickel, basically, on the option chain. That's because it only has an 8% chance of making it there in the next 2 days. Now, a lot of people, when they get into options, they fall in love with these super cheap options, because if you do end up getting a big, crazy move in the stock in your direction, these things can be worth a lot of money very fast. But you know, if you buy this call option, the $12.50 call option, you only have about an 8% chance that it's going to make it to that price level. So you have a 92% chance you are going to lose money on that. And the people that end up collecting all the money, you hear about all these people that are blowing out accounts in options. Where's all that money going? That is going to the option seller. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I sold the $15 call. I had in this account I have 1,100 shares, so I sold 11 of the 15 call for 20 cents or $20 a contract. So I collected $220. And I think back then when I sold them, they only had a delta of about let me look at my board here. They only had a delta of 11, so it only had 11% chance of making it to 15. I can't remember the exact price where Clean Spark was trading at, but you can see it's only hanging out right around $10, so now it only has a 6% chance of making that. So I'm going to end up collecting all of that money. So it's like another way that I like to generate income on my long-term holdings. I like to sell way out of the money so my shares don't get taken away. Now, when you sell way out of the money, you're not collecting nearly as much, but I just want to keep my shares and collect some income as I'm holding on to those shares. So, you know, for a couple of weeks, I'll end up collecting $220. Once they expire on Friday, if the stock doesn't make it to $15, and there ends up being a halfway decent move in Clean Spark, you know, I'll sell some more options on it and try to collect some more income. But this is a very loose explanation on how to buy options, so make sure you scope that out on YouTube. Find out one of these guys that really do a good job explaining options so you can get a better feel for it. But the best advice I could give you is don't mess with options for at least a year. You know, make sure you learn how stocks trade, and then once you get really good at that, you can start buying and selling options, you know, to add a little bit of leverage to that. You know, you certainly don't want to add leverage unless you know exactly what you're doing. But hopefully that explained at least a little bit for you, Hannah. And like I said, Hannah, if this is you messing with me, I swear to God. But let's get into my trading activity now. Okay, so now I'm going to get into my trading activity for the day, but before I do that, I just want to let you know I do have a Patreon group. The link is down there in the description. It's $9.99 a month, and I'm in the Discord every single day, and also I try to put out a pre-market watch list video for these type of trades that I am watching before the market sets up, and also if I see anything else different or exciting going on in the market, I'll put that in my pre-market video as well. But no pressure to join that. Simply liking the video will suffice. I certainly appreciate that. I actually made 2 trades today. One of them was kind of a wash. Made just a little bit on it, and that wasn't really my fault. I actually bought the 336 put on the QQQ. Let me actually jump over to that chart really quick. When I figured that the QQQ was going to have a hard time getting past this area right here, which it had earlier in the day anyway, so I bought the 336 put, and not long after I got into it, I mean like right after I got into it, the electric company stopped at the house and said they were going to be doing work on the telephone pole, and I was going to lose power for a little bit. And I didn't want to be stuck in it with no power. I live out here in the middle of nowhere. I have no cell coverage, so I'd have to drive somewhere to get cell coverage if I wanted to manage that trade. And I only wanted to be in it for just a minute. So I ended up making like 10% on it, which is practically nothing on an option. So, but it would have worked out because I had a nice little rollover. Let me actually go to the minute chart on this one. But this is when I got it right about here. Oh shoot, that wasn't it. It was right up here. Once it had a move up here to about 338. And kind of hung around for a little bit, and then it rolled over all the way down here. But this was the Fed meeting. I certainly wasn't going to hold it into the Fed meeting, but it had a nice rollover finally, so it would have been a pretty nice trade if I could have stayed in it. But I didn't want the risk, you know, especially with the Fed meeting coming on later in the day. I didn't want to, you know, be stuck in that trade, and probably if I was still in it right now, I'd be getting crushed in it. So good thing I wasn't in it. But let's get back to the other one. This was in Kingsoft Clouds Holdings. So this is part of my gap and go strategy. I just wait for a stock that is gapping up, waited for it to either, you know, consolidate the other highs and break out, or have a little bit of a rounding bottom. This one had the rounding bottom, so I'll go to the minute chart, show you how this one shaped out and what I like to look for. This one just kept going and going and going, so I sold this way too soon, but you know, I'm just trying to capture a day trade in the first half hour or so. But I saw the stock pulling back after the gap up, found some support at that 8-period exponential moving average, had a little bit of a false breakdown, then another sharp reversal. You guys know that I love that. I waited for it to break this little ceiling right here. I put my order in at 410, so that's what I was looking at right there. And it actually did execute my order right at 410, so I got a pretty decent execution, and I took profit at $4.39, so just before it made it to the old high. So probably, I don't know, maybe right about, I think it was on a big green candle. But I think it was right about there. Yeah, right around 439 is where I got out. But this thing just kept going and going and going. A lot of these stocks, these gap and go trades that I get into, they end up fading into the day, but every once in a while, one just keeps going higher and higher and higher. I've been thinking about, you know, taking most of the profit off the table and maybe leaving a small portion in case I get one of these runners, but I haven't really incorporated that into my trading system just yet. Every time I see a chart like this, I'm thinking, man, probably should have left at least a little bit on the table and just, you know, put a trailing stop underneath it, because this would have been a very, very nice gain for me. But nonetheless, it was still about a 7% gain, and I'll take that. I try to capture between like 5 and 8%, so this was definitely a good trade for me, so I am not going to complain. But that was my trading activity for the day. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave it for me down there in the comment section. I'm actually going on a small vacation. Going to be gone for about 6 days or so. So everybody, I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll start making videos when I get back. But I'm going to end the video right there. Thank you so much for watching it all the way to the end. And until next time, take care, everybody.